There's been a lot of buzz in the news about AI and how it will either be the end of humanity or how it will take us as far as fire did.
A bot laid out plans to destroy humanity. This technology could wipe out humanity.
I mean, is this enough to be scared about?
Now, I'm capable of doing many different tasks on a computer that would perplex my mom, like opening settings, for example, but I realized that I didn't really know much about AI and how it works, and especially not the new generative AI. So I started playing around with AI bots like ChatGPT-4 in preparation for this video, and I have to say I have mixed feelings about its capabilities. I asked it, for instance, to write an intro for this video about the applications AI has in cars, and you can see here it's semi-decent, but it's very, very repetitive. Now, I will give it some credit. It was able to recognize that my channel was around cars, and so it made a lot of car references, but at the end of the day, it's still laughably repetitive. Following this though, I went down the AI rabbit hole of researching what exactly AI is, what it's good at, what it's struggling with, and what the intentions for it are, and from that rabbit hole emerged this video, how AI will reshape cars as we know them today. Hello people of the internet, I'm Nico, not artificial and sometimes intelligent. Let me show you this rabbit hole that I went down. Alright, because it's very difficult to make a video explaining the applications of AI without knowing the who, what, when, where, and why, we need to start off with the basics. How does AI differ from regular computer programs? So, a regular old computer program like what you would find in a robot that's assembling a car in the factory will be some code that gives the robot directions to say start from a point XYZ, move to a new point XYZ and grab a wheel, say for instance, and move that to the original starting point of X, Y, or Z. That's one data set and it just repeats those commands over and over again. Then we get to the first of two versions of AI, which I will refer to here as traditional AI. One example of traditional AI you will all be familiar with is voice assistants, like Google Assistant, Alexa, or Siri if you gave into the whole blue bubbles thing. But in keeping with my previous example with the car robots and the Legos, traditional AI would observe the robots completing their program of moving the tire from one point to the other, and it would then replicate that over and over and tweak its code over and over again until it matches the original dataset. Generative AI, however, would take this example a step further, in which it would observe the robots doing their program of moving the tire from one location to the other, but instead of replicating that, it would maybe try throwing the tire from its starting point to its end point. Now, this is just one crude example of how AI could be used in cars and car production today, but I think there are more and certainly better suited applications for both kinds of AI. So where will AI be used, and specifically where will each version of AI be used? Both are good questions with fairly straightforward answers. The AI we the consumers would likely see the most is traditional AI, and that's simply because it's the most useful inside of a car. I mean, the voice assistants in cars today are basically there anyway. If you look at Mercedes, for example, you can just say the phrase, "Hey Mercedes, I'm cold," and it will adjust the climate controls for you. And when it comes to autonomous driving, again, you would only really use traditional AI to analyze the data and then complete its task of driving. To elaborate on this example, say for instance the self-driving software is doing its thing, driving the car, but you as the driver get nervous and decide to take control. The software could then analyze the surroundings and its actions based off of those surroundings and compare it to how a normal person reacts based on similar surroundings and use that information to update its code to improve how it drives. I'll get to some complications with that idea in a second, but at least in theory that would be a use for traditional AI. As for generative AI, that will be more crucial in the production process of cars. When companies are designing a car, they will go through dozens of computer and clay models before landing on the finished product. Meanwhile, generative AI could chuck out those dozens of designs in mere seconds and then use whatever inputs the designers give it to further refine that design until it lands on the finished product. On top of that, you might have different AIs that can take that design and refine it further to be, say, more aerodynamic or conform to whatever safety regulations require. Just take a look at some of the things that Bing's image creator was able to spin up. I admit I got a little bit carried away asking for a Aston Martin DBS and Toyota Sienna combo mashup thing, but I mean, come on and just look at it. Clearly the wheel design still needs some reworking to be physically possible, and having no mirrors doesn't really work legally, but I mean, what a cool looking concept. Plainly, generative AI is more of a tool to be used and not some kind of sentient being that's going to take control of your car and then deliberately mow down some kids on the side of the road. And while that was meant as a joke, it could still be a concern. My concern relates to how AI would work in conjunction with autonomous driving software. Take this hypothetical scenario. Say Tesla has traditional AI in its self-driving software, but when it's not actually driving the Tesla itself, the AI will just kind of sit there and learn off of the driver. Using the cameras, it will monitor the surroundings and how the driver responds to those surroundings, and use that information to adapt the self-driving software to drive in a more human-like manner. Theoretically, this would be a good application, but what if the AI is having to monitor some chick named Bethany who's always on her phone and doesn't use her turn signal and maybe runs red lights here and there? You know, the basic average white girl who can't drive. Will traditional AI mark this down as human behavior and start running red lights or cutting off cyclists? More importantly, is there some way to tell AI to distinguish between a good driver and a bad driver? If you're a software engineer or some kind of expert on this field, please let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Now, there's one more application for AI in cars, namely it controlling your brakes, but you can find out more about that topic in this video here. Make sure to subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. It's free and you can always change your mind later. Until next time, people of the internet, peace out.